Welcome back. You stay on to Market Pulse on your preferred People's Television, and this is a discussion segment. Yes, for 5 consecutive quarters, Nigeria suffered recession. But according to the report released recently by the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria is finally out of recession, as the data shows that the economy grew at 0.55% in the second quarter of 2017, which is 2.04% higher than the rate recorded in the corresponding quarter of 2016. Well, our choice for discussion today is Nigeria exits recession, as we analyze the data and predict expectations. And with me in the studio to discuss on this is EMMANUEL. He is a stockbroker of FINMAL Finance, and as you know, I always bring to you the finest minds you can find in the business world. Welcome to Market Pulse.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you on this platform once again.
My pleasure.
Well, the latest MBS report tells us that we are out of recession. It's actually a good news. But when you hear Nigeria out of recession, what comes to mind?
Well, what comes to mind is that the economy has expanded after a long bout of contraction. So we have seen a marginal expansion in the economy.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it's my concern and my viewer concern as well, as we would like to know the key factors that are responsible for compiling the statistics by MBS.
The methodology?
Yes.
There are several surveys that the National Bureau of Statistics and the Central Bank of Nigeria conduct on a regular basis to get figures for production and expenditure in the economy. And periodically, the NBS is responsible for bringing this together for the various sectors. So they cover quite a lot of sectors in the economy. There are several broad categories, and under those broad categories, there are other subsectors that they look at intimately to see how much have they grown over the period, how much are they contributing to the gross domestic product of the nation. Okay.
Yes. Now that we are out of recession, it's actually a good development. Now, should we trail softly, or basically, what are your fears?
Well, it's no time for relaxation, because first of all, the growth is marginal. 0.55%, as many economists have pointed out, is not enough for a country like Nigeria with population growth that is almost 3%. And with a huge population, a lack of infrastructure, there are so many things that we need consistent growth of almost 10% to actually say smile. For now, 0.55% is nothing to smile about. There is still a lot of work to
be done.
Yes.
But some will say this is just a political strategy ahead of 2019. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I think the National Bureau of Statistics has proven to be independent in its work. It follows the best practices worldwide. So I don't think that there is any political strategy here. When we went into recession for five quarters, if it were politically motivated, they wouldn't have wanted us to stay in recession for that long.
But what comes to mind, the issue on ground now is when can the average man on the streets begin to feel this impact? Because they say we are out of recession.
Yes.
But an average man on the streets will tell you that these are just nominal figures. These are not facts.
Yes. When I was going to work in the morning and listening to the radio, that was the brunt of most of the discussions that I had on radio. The price of Gary has not changed in the market.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. So what is?
So what are they saying? What do they mean by we being out of recession when the average man on the street does not feel the impact?
Well, like if you look at if you break down the figures for coming out of recession, the major thing that changed, that brought us out of recession, was oil sector. So that has changed. That compared to last year, production has increased. And production increasing means that we've gotten additional revenue in that area. There's been more money to settle various recurrent and capital expenditure. And the dollar shortages that we had that exacerbated our problems last year have reduced a little.
But that is because of the CBN intervention.
Yes, but the CBN couldn't have intervened if we had not been able to generate additional income. So the country has actually generated additional income because the oil prices have come up from their lows. Production has stabilized because of the talks with the Niger Delta militants. So that is basically why we had this marginal increase. And just as we went into recession because we had issues with our oil industry, because prices tanked, production tanked, so we couldn't generate enough revenue for government. Government could not pay its bills. It had to borrow from mostly internally this time. There was pressure on the naira, which forced a devaluation, an implicit devaluation, and that's why prices spiked because of the inflation. Because we are an import-dependent country. So when we had dollar shortages, and the dollar was going for 500, prices, of course, would also go up. So it would take a while for the effects of an easing in such those things that pressurized our economy and forced into recession to again reflect in the lives of ordinary Nigerians. It will take some time for factories that we are not manufacturing almost anything, but have started gradually increasing their manufacturing to start producing enough to ask some workers to come in. That will reduce unemployment. And the person who maybe who buys from these manufacturers and sells in the public to the public, they have been under pressure because there has been no disposable income in the hands of people who have lost maybe their jobs, who maybe their businesses are under strain because there's no money that was available in the economy. So all this will take a while. So the fact that we are out of recession is not going to bring food on our table immediately. Well, it shows that maybe the worst is over. We've had a very bad year in 2016. I don't think 2017 will be as bad as 2016. And 2018 should be much better.
All right, I'm trying to be very practical about this whole issue, because when you say we are out of recession, there's a lot to be analyzed on this issue. In a recessionary period, the economy was characterized as with low activities, low income being earned, and that was when we said the economy was in recession. With the outbreak, with this advent of we being out of recession and the latest MBS statistics, what has changed? Where are the jobs going to come from?
Well, like some of the measures that we had put in place to tackle the recession. Look at agriculture. When things were very tight, government said, okay, no money is coming from the oil industry. So government cannot be the sole dispenser of patronage and money in the economy. Let us see how we can generate more jobs and more money from agric. And they put in various things in place. So you see these days that many of us have gone back to the farm, in one way or the other. And some are discovering that there is even more money to be made there than sitting in an office waiting for 50, 100,000 on a monthly basis. So if we can still keep such kind of policies, agric was a good example of where the government got it right during the recession, because if you look at throughout the 5 quarters of recession, agric was doing quite well.
But it was only the crop production area that was doing well.
In this recent report, almost all the sectors did well except fisheries. Crop production did well, livestock did well. All of them grew, even if some did less than others. Forestry did well. I think the only one that was negative was fisheries. So that is an area that the jobs and growth can come and show in the lives of ordinary Nigerians. And as I said, for manufacturing, what happened when we had the recession? We had to think about how do we substitute for the expensive imports of many of these manufacturing companies, and many of them actually went back and started saying, okay, if I'm a cement manufacturer and I was dependent on gas that is not available, let me go and maybe ramp up coal production. Many of the cement people started using coal. Some started using alternative fuels, waste, biogas. I know OKOH did that. Now, they are not going to just. There's no dump for biogas. They have to employ people who will go and gather these things that they used to burn to generate their energy. So these are the kind of innovative things that we should not let go just because we say we've come out of a recession. Nigeria must find a way to move away from its oil dependence. There's always been talk about that, but it's always been
an old age sector.
It's always talk. So let's actually continue with those kind of initiatives to show that yes, there is a lot of production that can be achieved within the economy, and we should concentrate on making our economy not a monoproduct economy, but a diversified, productive economy that is dependent more on local issues, local materials.
All right, you're a stockbroker of FINMAL Finance.
Yes.
How can you rate the demand of stock when we're in recession, and now that we are out of recession, what are your expectations?
Well, the recession drove away a lot of foreign investment, because one of the factors that the foreign investors consider is growth in an economy. Okay. So if growth is not there, then the likelihood of investors participating in your financial market is also very low. So there was a consistent drop for years before we actually noticed that, yeah, recession is actually here. And it worsened during the recessionary period. It was only after the CBN, as I said, sorted out its forex issues that investors saw cheap value in stock market and pumped in some money in the the first and second quarter of 2017. Now, for how exiting recession will affect us going forward, when they see growth, usually they will come back, because that was what attracted them for several years. When the economy was coasting along at 6-7%, it was one of the most attractive areas to invest. Now, 0.55%, as I said, is marginal. It's not enough yet to convince anybody that this is sustainable.
Yes.
But if the third quarter GDP figures come out and we have improved and we show consistency
in growth,
then definitely by next year there will be another boost to the market.
Okay.
Yes.
This is a question I love to ask when I'm with like-minded like you. The CBN FX intervention, so far so good. We heard the CBN have spent $7 billion intervening in the FX market. Do you think it's sustainable?
Well, they've managed to sustain it. Many people expressed
doubt. But you just said they've managed to sustain it.
Many people expressed doubts at the beginning, but the reserves have been growing despite the intervention. The reserves have grown. They've not depleted the reserves. So I think it's sustainable. And, the aim has largely been achieved. They've prevented speculators from speculating on our currency and making profit on oil by forcing it into unrealistic levels. So in that wise, the fact that they defended the currency means they've succeeded, and gradually they can ease back on the amount that they used to defend.
All right, this will be a topic for another day.
Okay.
All right, I've been speaking with EMMANUEL OKOH. He is a stockbroker of FINMAL Finance, and as you know, I always bring to you the finest minds you can find in the business world. We'll be talking about Nigeria exit recession. As you know, the country just exit recession, and the country grew 0.55%. We experienced a 0.55% growth in our GDP, and we're so optimistic that over time, at the long run, the average man on the streets will feel the impact of the Nigeria economy, and things will turn around for the good. Mr. EMMANUEL OKOH, many thanks for having your market pulse. Thank you for your analysis. Well, this is the size of our package on today's episode of Market Pulse. You can always send us an email to ptvmarketpulse@gmail.com. We'll attend to them as they come. All right, I remain your host, Gabriel Nissi.